my friends, Happy New Year. It is 2024. Hard to believe. I'm okay with 2023 being shown the door. It was a little bit of a tumultuous year for me, but I also tried to take the perspective that any year that I am drawing breath is a good thing. So in my household, we have put away the Christmas decorations. The weather is a little bit chilly outside. We've had some cloudy days, but we also have some sunny days like today. And so that means that it has been time for me to push out all of the holiday and tree fragrances because I am a very seasonal burner, and go ahead and dive into my candle collection and come up with quite a hodgepodge here of candles that I am burning in the month of January. This is a video that I typically do once a month. I have goals to try to do it at least twice a month this year. We will see if I am able to achieve those goals. But yeah, I thought it was just fun to look through my collection because I actually love the month of January when it comes to home fragrance because I feel like I have a lot of freedom to incorporate a variety of fragrances. If you have been with me for a while, then you know that I am traditionally a very seasonal burner, and quite frankly, pretty much since September, my mind has kind of been locked into this self-imposed, you only burn apple in September, you burn pumpkin in October, cranberry in November, holiday, like Christmas time, it's all about the tree fragrances. And so January comes around and I'm like, oh wow, I can really kind of do what I want here. And I know that that's like, it's a silly kind of way of thinking, but that's just kind of how my mind works. But in the month of January, especially here in Arizona, we have a lot of sunshine, but we also, our mornings and evenings are significantly, I mean, they're cold. And we might get some storm systems coming through. So there's just a whole host of fragrances here that kind of fit each one of those moods. So if you are curious to see what I have been burning during this first week of January, what I am planning to burn throughout the month, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with HOMEWORX. So I always like to be fully transparent with all of you guys. None of these candles, actually, as I'm looking at them, one candle was sent to me in PR. The rest of these candles were all purchased with my own money. I am a brand ambassador for HOMEWORX. I think a couple of these candles are currently available on the Slatkin & Co. website. And I do have a discount code with them. KATIESJOYFULLIFE will save you 15% on orders over $40 over there. So if you're wanting to save some extra money and support my channel, then you are free to use that code. But if not, that's totally fine too. I'm going to go ahead and start out with the first HOMEWORX candle that I've been burning this week. Is actually one that is not currently available on the website. I purchased this one at TJ Maxx. It says right here on the label for $12.99. This is by the Fireside. Now this is a 3-wick. I think this was in a special vessel that they had as part of a QVC TSV a couple of years ago. In fact, my pour date on this candle is November 9th of 2021. So yeah, this candle's a little bit over 2 years old. The fragrance notes on By the Fireside are warm embers, mulled spices, golden amber, and cedar wood. So I have already burned this candle about halfway down. We did have a couple of cloudy days this week, which I was absolutely all about. Fun fact about me, I grew up in Southern California and now living in Arizona. I love rainy days because they are so rare rare in context. I always say I should probably live in the Pacific Northwest because I love rainy, dreary days. But anyway, so because we had a couple of those days, I was burning this 3-wick vessel. Now, like I said, I really love the packaging on this. Strength and throw on this particular candle has been pretty good for me. I would give this a solid 7.5 for me. Now, again, it's been sitting for 2 years, so who knows with that. The fragrance notes on this, I will say this is probably my favorite Fireside type of fragrance from HOMEWORX. They have Winter Fireside, they have Crackling Fireside, they have Fireside Christmas Tree. So there's a couple of like, you know, accords there that kind of come up with that smoky type of fragrance. This to my nose is not smoky. It's a sweet Fireside type of fragrance. You get that amber that comes through. You smell a little bit of those mulling spices, but it's not as spicy as say Crackling Fireside. That's a little bit more heavy on the cinnamon to my nose. But it's not as smoky as say Winter Fireside. That's a very smoky incense type of fragrance. This is just sweet. It's balanced out. You get some of that cedar wood in here. I really, really like this fragrance. Now, if you are wanting this fragrance, I have seen it over on Ulta. In fact, the last time I checked, it was on sale for $15 over on the Ulta website. So if you are interested in that fragrance, that's where I would go ahead and direct you. And by the way, I will have all of these candles that I'm talking about linked with timestamps in the description box down below, so that way you can go back and reference if you are curious about a particular candle that I'm talking about. All right, another HOMEWORX candle that I busted out this week is one that made my top 5 list from HOMEWORX in 2023, and this is the candle Black Tie. Again, it is one of the 3 wicks. To be honest with you guys, I'm not crazy about this packaging, but I also burn my candles predominantly in colored, they're kind of like an amber colored hurricane. So I guess the packaging, in the long run doesn't really make the biggest of differences for me. But this again is a 3-wick candle. Now I've only burned this candle one time this week. The fragrance notes on Black Tie are patchouli, aged bourbon, Palo Santo, smoked vanilla bean. I will tell you, this candle is not for the faint of heart. You get all of those notes that I just listed. You get some of that aged bourbon. This is a boozy fragrance. So if you are somebody who does not like Harry's boozy fragrances, I would tell you to steer clear. If you do like a little bit of a boozy fragrance though, you want this one. This is a very sophisticated candle. I get a little bit of that patchouli in here, but it's more like perfume patchouli instead of it being like dirty hippie patchouli. You get that aged bourbon, you get the vanilla, you get a little tiny bit of smokiness from Palo Santo. This is just like the most sophisticated candle. I imagine like a black tie dinner party going on and this scent wafting in the background. If they made a cologne like this, if any of you know of a cologne that smells like this, I would love for my husband to smell like it. This one is so, so good. Strength and throw on this one for me. Let me see, the pour date on this is July 7th of 2023. The strength and throw on this one, I would say on the first burn for me was around a 6, which to be quite honest with you guys is probably okay for me because the fragrance notes in here are so bold and so strong that I feel like you don't want this candle being a 10. You definitely, this is like a nice background type of fragrance. So I've really been enjoying that one this week. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the one candle in this entire video that I'm going to talk about that was sent to me in PR. Let me put this candle down because I'm afraid I'm going to have an accident here. All right, the candle that was sent to me, probably I want to say right before this released, I feel like this came out maybe in September or October. This is Tiramisu from HOMEWORX. So this is their 4-wick 18-ounce jar. Those other 2 were the 3 wicks. Fragrance notes here are whipped mascarpone, espresso beans, ladyfingers, and vanilla bean. The pour date on this one is also July 7th of 2023. So I will go ahead and open this up. I've actually burned quite a bit of this candle. I did start burning it, I want to say back in October when I first got it. And then I put it away throughout November and December, and now I've brought it back out. So this candle, I'm going to tell you, is, I don't want to say that I don't like it. I like it. It's enough. Is it one that I will be repurchasing? No, it won't. This candle pairs really nicely with some of like my coffee fragrances, or maybe I have a chocolate fragrance. It's also a nice gourmand that pairs with some of my more like cozy type of fragrances. In fact, I have one here that I will be talking about next. But to me, first off, it's very light. This one, I would say strength and throw, and again, mine's been sitting now for a couple of months since I've had it, is still only around, I would say, a 5. This is one that I will typically burn in my bedroom, which has lower ceilings and obviously is a smaller room. I'm not going to burn this one out in my living room that has 20-foot high ceilings and is more open concept. It's gonna get lost out here. This, I get that espresso note in here. I get kind of like a cookie note, vanilla bean. It's definitely more vanilla bean than traditional vanilla in here. There is kind of like something that leans more towards coffee, like a coffee gourmand in this, not like coffee cake. But here's the thing with this candle. I find that with some candles, and I don't know particularly what note it is in here, that if I burn it for too long, so usually after that 2.5 hour mark, this candle starts to take on kind of a burned note, and not in like I'm burning food or anything, or like anything's going wrong with the candle. I think it's just the oils themselves almost start to give off like a wildfire type of scent to me, which quite frankly, I just told you I like fiery, smoky fragrances, so that doesn't always bother me. But I do notice that the fragrance changes over time. So this candle will be probably not be, I know it won't be a repurchase for me, but I'm glad that they sent it to me because I was initially interested in it. But it's going to be a one and done for me. The candle that I actually, oddly enough, kind of pair this with, because that's kind of like a coffee gourmand type of fragrance that I have been burning it with, is Cozy Weekend. Now I also have this in a 3-wick from HOMEWORX, but this is their standard 4-wick. So the fragrance notes on Cozy Weekend are cozy woods, roasted almond, clover honey, and vanilla. The pour date on this specific one is July 9th of 2023. Oh, okay. So this candle, I don't know if you can see that too well here, but it's, you know, got its little 4 wicks here. The wicks on this have been doing really, really well for me, by the way. I haven't had any issues with this one pooling out for me at all. Tiramisu, I feel like it took a little while to, that first pool out, I needed to let the candle burn a little bit longer to achieve that full pool, but ever since then I haven't had any wick issues. Okay, so Cozy Woods. I don't know exactly what accord, what fragrance notes are making up that accord. I definitely detect a little bit of vanilla, almond, and honey in here. And the honey note is not overly cloying. This is a very unique fragrance to me, and yet it is also one that I think is appropriately named Cozy Weekend. It's not fresh like laundry. It's a gourmand, but there's like a slight, I don't want to say perfuminess to it because that's not what it is, but there is a sweetness to this that is not artificial sugar sweetness. This is definitely like sweetness from a honey type of fragrance. It's like, it sounds weird, it's like a natural sweetness that comes through with this. Strength and throw on this one has been about a 7 for me. I have really enjoyed burning this one again in my living room. And if you are new to my channel, 7 or 8 is usually my sweet spot when I am talking about a candle's performance in terms of strength and throw, because I have a lot of friends and family who are very scent sensitive, and anything higher than an 8 will usually induce headaches among them, especially this time of year when I can't always have my windows open. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this fragrance. This one has paired really nicely with, I'll burn it with Tiramisu. There's a couple of other candles here that I'm going to talk about from other brands that I've been burning it alongside. That's one that because it's like a naturally sweet gourmand, I like burning it with something that's also in that gourmand category, but just smells different. So yeah, it's been a really good one. So that is it for HOMEWORX this week, or this month, that I have pulled out. And I might, towards the end of this month, as I burn through something, I might pull in something else in my rotation, which is why I'm aiming to do this video twice a month, because by the middle of the month, I may have finished off some of these and then incorporated some new fragrances into my, my rotation here. So a candle from YANKEE that I am still focusing on finishing up this month is Holiday Zest. This is their take on an orange pomander type of fragrance. I personally don't really associate orange pomander with the holidays. I know a lot of people do, but for me, it's typically like a January fragrance because I love the smell of citrus, but there's also that base of like clove and spice with it. This is a really well done fragrance from YANKEE. In fact, this is probably one of my favorite ones. I do plan on purchasing some of those new YANKEE 3-wicks that they are going to be coming out with at the end of this month. So stay tuned, because I do want to provide some feedback and thoughts and hopefully some good reviews on those for you. Because my interest is definitely peaked with them. I will say that this signature formula I actually really like. I don't like the traditional paraffin wax, but I have had some pretty good success with this signature line. Strength and throw on this candle is about a 6 for me. It doesn't, go wild, but it's a really, really nice orange pomander fragrance. And so I have been burning that right now. as we are segueing into kind of those orange pomander scents, we're gonna go ahead and talk about some Kringle candles now. I am a Kringle ambassador. My code KATIE15 will save you 15% on any of your purchases. I know that that code usually cannot be combined with their deeply discounted sales, but if there are any candles that are being newly released, or maybe, I don't know, maybe there's just a candle that you're like, I want it now and it's not on sale, you can go ahead and type in that code if you are comfortable with affiliate codes and save yourself a little bit of extra money. And that might come in handy because they are releasing some new reserve line fragrances this Thursday, January 11th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did not receive those candles in PR. Fun fact, you guys, not all of the ambassadors always get PR. It's kind of like a lottery system. So sometimes I get PR and sometimes I don't. It's totally fine. And some ambassadors get PR all the time, and it's usually because they have much larger followings. And so they kind of like, they crank out more discount codes. You know, they work hard. It's totally fine. But anyways, where I'm going with that is that they are releasing some new reserve candles. I believe there's 5 of them. My friend Connor actually just posted a video. The day that I'm filming this, he just posted a video giving his first sniff impressions, so you can go ahead and check that out. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be purchasing any of those reserve line candles, and I'll let you know at the end of this video why that may or may not be. So anyways, while we are talking about reserve line candles, this one, unfortunately, is sold out, but this is Kringle Candles Vintage Pomander. Now, this is their collaboration with my friend Melanie, Mr. Kong's mom. I know that this was a long anticipated collaboration candle, and of course, the launch did not go according to plan. It was kind of a mess. And there were only so many candles. I have heard reassurances that this candle will be coming back next year. So, this candle for me, I've actually only burned twice. So you'll see here, I haven't really gotten very far down on it. The candle itself is a lovely, lovely fragrance. Definitely more of an emphasis on the orange than the spice or clove in here, which is why I think that it's a perfect January fragrance for me. I like it. I will say that the first 2 burns on it have been strength and throw of around like a 5 to 6 for me. Now again, let me look at the pour date. Does it say when this candle was poured? This one was poured on December 5th, so like barely a month ago. So this is a fragrance that I suspect that maybe the reason why it's not super, super strong is because it was so recently poured, or it could just be where I am burning it. I have seen some mixed reviews on this. Some people are saying that it's performing really, really well for them, and then other people are like, I can't smell it at all, which is a shame because I don't know, there's all sorts of things that could play into that. And I want to say that I think that I don't think anybody's being untruthful in them sharing their feedback. I think that there's a lot of factors that go into a candle's performance for all of us. But yeah, the first couple of burns on this one, it's been pretty light. So I've been burning it in my bedroom. I would say like 5 to 6, but it's a really, really nice fragrance. I'm very happy for my friend Melanie. It is also a candle that I feel like if I don't burn through all of it in January, at least I can stick it aside for maybe next year. But it's a really nice fragrance. Another candle that kind of fits into that theme is actually one of the tester candles that Melanie was sent, and she ended up not going with this fragrance, but she told Mick, she said, you should use this candle because it's a really lovely fragrance, and that is Away in a Manger. So this was part of the 2022 holiday lineup, and I purchased it in a 3-wick last year, and boy, oh boy, in fact, I still have a little bit of the 3-wick, I just didn't want to get both of them out. Boy, was that a powerhouse candle. That candle threw like a 9 for me. It was so strong. Now, I will tell you the differences between Away in a Manger and Vintage Pomander. Vintage Pomander is more orange focused, whereas this one, I definitely get the orange note in here, but I get more clove and spice. To be 100% honest with you guys, this is just me being me, and I love Melanie. Like I actually prefer Away in a Manger slightly more than Vintage Pomander, but that is because I do like some clove and some spice. I'm not saying that I don't like Vintage Pomander. I do. I really, really enjoy it. But if you were to ask me of like all of these like orange pomander type of fragrances, which one do I lean towards the most? It's this one. It's Away in a Manger because I think it's perfectly balanced between spice and orange in here. But this one, just like the 3-wick, has been throwing really, really well for me. Now, again, I get increased oomph from a Hurricane, but this one is really strong. It's like at a 9 for me, and I'm actually okay with that because I really love the fragrance enough. In fact, I just ordered it at 50% off. I ordered the large 2-wick tumbler of it because I love the fragrance so much, and I'm like, oh, once I'm done with this one and done with that 3-wick, what if they discontinue it? And I want to make sure that I still have it. So that has been a lovely fragrance. All right, switching it up from the orange Pomander fragrances, another candle that this is a repurchase for me from Kringle, and I'm kind of surprised that I repurchased it because this is a lighter throwing type of candle, lighter strength and throw. This is Snowy Bridge from Kringle. Now this, first off, the label on here is so beautiful. I wish those labels illuminated when the candle was lit. That would like be the cherry on top here. But of course, you know, we've got a clean burn here as the Kringle soy formula always is for me. Snowy Bridge. Okay, so this candle I think is marketed somewhat as a tree scent, but this is more, again, if you've been with me, you know that I like more of like the bark or the wood note on a tree, more so than say the like pine needles or the leaf fragrances on here. This is a really, really lovely fragrance, but it is light. There is a woodsiness to this. It smells like, and I really think Snowy Bridge is an appropriate name for this because this does smell like a wood-covered bridge, like what I would think a wood-covered bridge would smell like. Now, again, I don't live in a very snowy climate. If I drive 2 hours north of here, they get a lot of snow every year, but not here. But this is nice. There's a little bit of like spice in the background. Maybe my nose detects a little bit of amber, but it's very, very light. Now I will tell you that this is a candle that I pretty much only burn in my bedroom. And the whole reason that I actually purchased it again was so that I could burn it alongside a really strong fragrance like HOMEWORX Black Tie. Those two actually complement each other really, really well because this doesn't compete with it, but it still lends a little bit of a nice background scent. But this fragrance to me, even in a Hurricane, is really only about a 5. It fills up my bedroom pretty well, but it would get lost completely out here in my living room. So that's another fragrance. A new fragrance to me this year from Kringle. This is one that I purchased in a daylight and it was kind of out of my wheelhouse, but every once in a while I like to try something new. This is Gold and Cashmere. Now this was actually just released in a 3-wick. I think that one might be on sale for 50% off. But I had purchased this in a 2-wick. I want to say maybe when these 2-wicks were on sale for $10. I really like this fragrance. Now this is the type of fragrance if you like fresh, almost spa-like type of qualities. This is definitely like a cashmere type of fragrance. It's clean. It's almost, I don't want to say soapy, but like a little bit perfumey, not patchouli perfumey. I will have it, you can check out the Kringle website. You know, I wish Kringle would get better about putting their fragrance notes on the bottom of the candles because their fragrance descriptions are usually so lengthy. It drives me nuts, to be quite honest with you. But this is a really nice fragrance. It almost, in a weird way, kind of like reminds me of a bubble bath fragrance that I had at some point in my life. But it's very sophisticated. It's not like kids' bubble bath. It's just very clean. My daughter really likes this. So that has been another one that I have really enjoyed. A 3-wick, and I also have this in their 2-wick medium tumbler. This is one, I think this is now probably my 3rd year burning this candle. This is like a repeat purchase for me. This is Kringle Candle's Cozy Cabin. Now this is in their 3-wick format that was available in 2022. In fact, I think I purchased this in an after Christmas sale back in 2022 when it was like 50% off, and I just kept it for this year. So Cozy Cabin, this is a fragrance that I will burn in another room when I am burning that HOMEWORX by the Fireside. Their fragrance notes are very similar to me, and so therefore they complement each other really nicely. The fragrance notes on Cozy Cabin are firewood, cedarwood, brown sugar, cinnamon bark, vanilla, and warm maple. So I definitely get some of that cedarwood and the sweetness of maple and brown sugar, but it's not a cloying sweetness. I don't really detect a ton of, like, I don't detect the spice of like red hot cinnamon in here. It would be more of like a cinnamon bark. Again, this is just like your sweet Fireside type of fragrance without it being smoky. It's funny, the more that I sniff these side by side, they are not the same fragrance at all, but you can see how they work really well with one another because there's kind of like an ambery note that comes out in it. sweetness of maple in here. Very, very nice. Now I will say that this candle is not overly strong. The 3-wick performs a little bit better. I would say that this one is about like, I would say like 6.5, 7, whereas the 2-wick is only about a 5. So I burn those in smaller bedrooms, and I will burn the HOMEWORX by the Fireside in a larger room. All right, let me see. I already talked about vintage Pomander. Let's talk about a couple of other specialty Kringle candles that I have here. So I did purchase the Ramekins, which I feel like a lot of us, they kind of, I don't want to say went under the radar. They were released, I want to say in late November. Was it late November? Early December, somewhere around there. But these are their 4-wick Ramekin jars. They came in a box. So I purchased 2 fragrances. I think I purchased, it was like Vanilla Almond Swirl. I haven't burned that one yet. And I also purchased Campfire Marshmallows. So the fragrance notes down here are toasted marshmallows, vanilla, and cake icing. Now I'm gonna tell you, I don't really detect those notes in here. I thought that this candle would be more of like a gourmand to me. And this is more of like a sweet, I mean, if you like, I thought that there would be more of like a campfire note to this. I don't detect any campfire note at all in here. I do get the sweetness of marshmallow, but it's not the same type of marshmallow that's used in Bath & Body Works or HOMEWORX. It must be Kringle's take on what marshmallow would smell like. It's very sweet. What are the other fragrance notes here? Vanilla and cake icing. I don't know. For whatever reason, I feel like the fragrance notes listed here are not matching up with what I am smelling. To be honest, when I first smelled this one, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, oh, that doesn't smell at all like what I thought it would. It's not a bad candle. And in fact, it performed really, really well for me when I burned it last week. It was about a 9. It was very, very strong. So that gives me hope because there are rumblings that Kringle wants to expand into a 4-wick format, hopefully this year. And that gives me rumblings that those candles will be really, really strong when they do. But as for, I don't know, it was really strong performer, but the fragrance itself is one that I just don't see myself repurchasing. In a weird, weird way, the fragrance is almost so sweet that it artificially almost comes off as floral, but not any flower that I can distinctly pinpoint. I don't know. Let me know. If any of you guys purchased this one, were you a little bit caught off guard? Do you guys think I'm wrong in this? But that one is not what I thought it would be. But the performance is really good. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. Fragrance, I'm kind of meh about, but the performance is really, really solid and has me really excited for Kringle releasing 4-wick formats. All right, I've got 2 more reserve line candles that I have busted out from Kringle. This is Dalgona. This also made my top 10 list from Kringle last year. Oh my goodness, I've been burning this a lot this week. I don't know if you can see all the way in there. Yeah, you can. Again, burning cleanly, solidly. Oh my goodness, this fragrance is so good because it's kind of like a chocolatey cream. There's a creamy note, almost I want to say like a hazelnut note in the background there. But there's a creamy vanilla base in here. I would say that this was my favorite candle when Kringle released kind of that like gourmand. Well, actually, I will say they knocked it out of the park last year when they released those gourmand reserve line candles because I still have Jelly Donut, Macaroon, this one, and Sinful, and all of them like, oh, and I think Sweet and Savory, which is the one I'm going to talk about next. All of them, they just like knocked it out of the park. I wish they would keep those in like a regular lineup because those are probably some of their best candles that they've put out. This one, again, really strong performer for me. Now, again, this candle was poured February 10th of 2023, so it's been sitting for a good 10 months now. Oh my goodness, but I love this candle. I will tell you what I've been pairing this with. Sometimes I'll pair Tiramisu from HOMEWORX with it. And then there's a Bath & Body Works candle that I've also been burning alongside this. I can also burn this one with that cozy weekend if you kind of want like a coffee cozy vibe, but then maybe you want some of those like cashmere type of fragrances. Oh, so, so good. I'm kind of wishing I had another one of those. I might need to nurse that one along. All right, and I just mentioned it, Sweet and Savory. This is another candle that I kind of felt like I was taking a risk on purchasing last year because I don't think I initially purchased it, and then I saw somebody talk about it and I was like, oh, that does sound intriguing. This I would say is one of the more complex fragrances, more conceptual fragrances that Kringle has come out with when it comes to a gourmand type of fragrance. This is not your standard run-of-the-mill bakery type of fragrance. This one is hard to describe. I know some people have said like it smells like Fritos. I don't think it smells like Fritos. This is distinctly like, I mean, again, appropriately named sweet and savory because there is a sweetness to this, but it's not cloying sugary sweetness. But you get the savoriness of like a bread being baked. I was just telling my husband a couple of nights ago, it was rainy out and I always reach for this candle when we have rain. And I told him, I said, I think it's because, so when I was growing up, my grandparents lived, well, my grandpa's been gone for almost 8 years now, but they lived near Santa Barbara, California. And every President's Day weekend, they would take myself, my cousin, and my sister for like some type of fun weekend adventures. And we'd usually go whale watching or something like that. But it was always cold and rainy. And I said, I don't know why I am associating this fragrance with, like, there's a scent memory linked to doing that with them. And I said, I don't know if they took us into a bakery that smelled like this. I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love this one. I wish that they would bring it back. I know that a lot of the Kringle Reserve lines, it's like once they're gone, they're gone. And I wish that they would change that, especially like I said, with that last year's lineup. But this fragrance is decently strong for me. I think this one's about a 7 for me, not overly strong, but a really, really nice fragrance that I have been enjoying this week, particularly on cloudy, cold days. So, all right, Bath & Body Works. I've got 3 candles that I have in my rotation right now from Bath & Body Works. The first one that I have here is Crunchy English Toffee. So the fragrance notes on Crunchy English Toffee are sweet brown sugar, crunchy toffee, dash of vanilla extract. So I think I initially picked this one up on Candle Day. You can see, again, sometimes I move my candles before the wax is completely cooled. And this fragrance is really nice. You definitely get that toffee note and the vanilla. The vanilla is in here. It's like a vanilla extract type of scent. It's not like bakery, like a vanilla bean type of fragrance. It's definitely the fragrance of vanilla extract, almost like that. I know there's a little bit of alcohol, you know, in there. It's not a boozy fragrance, but it's definitely kind of that like more of vanilla extract in here. Sweet brown sugar, yep. So like I was saying about the tiramisu candle, I find that this candle, if I burn it for too long, if I burn it for more than 3 hours, it also starts to take on that kind of like burned note. And that's not, like I said, I think that there's something with the fragrance oils that are used to achieve kind of that toffee accord, or sometimes even like a toffee and coffee. I know they rhyme. Sometimes it's like a certain type of shortbread cookie. I know that I had that experience with Kringle's tea and cookies last year. But anyways, after 3 hours, I typically need to extinguish this candle. Now I will tell you that this candle is a slow burner. I'm not having issues with the wicks drowning or anything like that, but this does not get high flames. It's pretty small flames. It burns very slowly. Strength and throw on this one has been about a 7 for me. I've enjoyed burning this again with like Cozy Weekend. That's a nice fragrance that I burn it with. I will do an in-depth candle review on this one. That is one of my goals for this year, is to get back to being able to do more in-depth candle reviews. I'll share at the end of this video why sometimes that's a little bit difficult for me to do. But this one is still currently on sale during SAS, and I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes 75% off, because in my store, I saw an awful lot of these. It was this one and the what's the pink cocoa? I think it was pink cocoa. There were a ton of those in my store. So if you've had your eye on this one, I would say go ahead and pick it up, but stay tuned. I'll give you a more detailed review on that. I'm actually not sure if that review will go up before this video or after, but that one has been a really nice fragrance to burn during this month. And then this one, this is the one I was saying, oh, I hope I didn't ruin it, because I was just burning it and I extinguished it about half an hour before I started filming. This is Pistachio and Toasted Vanilla. You know that this made my list for some of my favorite Bath & Body Works candles last year. So the fragrance notes on this one are salted pistachios, toasted vanilla almonds, and oh my goodness. This fragrance to me, I will tell you, is probably like, if I could have a perfect candle for this time of year, like now through probably March, like January and February, this is the perfect candle for me, because it's a gourmand, but the way that I would describe it is it's such a neutral gourmand. That almond note gives it just a little bit something different, so it's not boring, but it's still very neutral, crowd pleasing. I don't see this one irritating a lot of people. It is so, so nice. So I was burning this morning, or actually no, this one burns really nicely with the HOMEWORX Cozy Weekend because again, they both have that almond note in it. This one also paired really nicely this morning. I busted out the, words here, Katie. KRINGLE's macaroon, the one that they released last year, you know, the one that has pictures of macarons on it. And then I'm seeing previews for their new ones and I'm like, how come they didn't fix that? Anyways. But this is a really, really nice fragrance. It blends really nicely with a variety of other fragrances. I feel like this is a must-have in every candle collector, in your stash because this is really, really good. It's been burning well for me. Again, this one is also another like slow burner, which I'm okay with. Strength and throw on this one is pretty solid. It's an 8. It's a good solid performer for me. So I really, really like it. And finally, you guys know that this one was going to be busted out again. Coffee and Whiskey, another one of my favorites from 2023 over at Bath & Body Works. Now, I will say this one can start to burn dirty, so I would max this one out at 3 hours, no more, and then extinguish it. I'm not having any issues with the wicks, which, you know, is typically one of my issues with Bath & Body Works. Wicks and sooting can be my issues with them. The fragrance notes on Coffee and Whiskey are bold Irish whiskey, splash of vanilla, hint of coffee. I will tell you that the whiskey note in here, this is not a boozy candle to my nose. The vanilla note that they are using in here is very much on par with the vanilla and musk candle from last year, if you remember that collection. It's almost like a marshmallowy vanilla type of fragrance. The coffee note is not as strong as Paris Cafe or even that pink lavender and espresso, but there is a little bit of a coffee note in the background. I have been burning this candle alongside Dalgona. I'm trying to think what other candles did I burn it with. There was another one that I was burning it with this week. Was it Black Tie? I'm trying to remember. There was another one, but again, this is a very versatile fragrance. Don't let the Coffee and Whiskey, don't let the name of this one deter you. If you go into Bath & Body Works, smell it. It is another really nice neutral blending candle. So that is it for all of the candles that I have in my collection during, I would say, this first half of January. I will probably rotate by mid-January, probably burn through some things and bring some other items into my collection. Let me know in the comment box down below, what fragrances do you gravitate towards? Are you still burning holiday? Are you like, yep, I'm just gonna keep on keeping on with all of those? Or are you ready for something new and fresh? I would love to know about that. Channel updates for me going into this year. So like I mentioned, I do want to try to do this series at least twice a month so I can give you some updates on how candles are burning for me. I also really am trying to be conscientious of, my goal is to get at least 2 candle reviews, like dedicated candle reviews out for you every week. I think sometimes where my challenge comes with that is that because I am a seasonal burner and I want to burn candles when I want to enjoy them, one of the challenges comes with the nature of this type of content is that they're always kind of like a season ahead. So for example, like I can get away with it a little bit more in the springtime because our weather here tends to match typical spring. Like, you know, it's really easy to burn floral candles at the end of February here when our weather is oftentimes in the 70s and I have my windows open. That's a lot easier for me to burn because it feels like it matches. But like, I know that I struggle with that in the fall and the winter because, you know, I'm not ready to burn pumpkin candles in late July or August when it's still 105 outside. So I know that that's kind of where I derailed a little bit, but I am hoping to get back to sharing some dedicated candle reviews with you. You will probably be seeing less, I would say less hauls, at least through these first couple of months of 2024. My husband and I are really trying to stick to a good budget this year. To be very honest with you, I've been very out of control with that the last couple of years. And so I'm ready to, you know, we're both just ready to be a little bit more accountable with that. We're not in a bad way or anything like that, but it's just, it's a goal that I have. You know, we have some other things that we enjoy doing. 2024, Lord willing, I make it to October of this year. I will be turning 40 this year, and we have a really big trip planned for that time. My husband is actually taking me on a 10-day Mediterranean cruise out of Rome. I've never been to Europe before. So obviously that's a big trip that we have coming up. And so we want to make sure that we're very mindful with our purchases to be able to save up for some fun travel. So those, you know, I definitely have to be a lot more aware of where I am spending a lot of our budget. And I have a lot of candles in my collection, which leads me to my next point. In the next couple of weeks, I will be sharing with you my complete candle collection because I am going to go ahead and reorganize that. And I will bring that to you in a series of videos. I'll probably do it by brand, let you know what I currently have in my collection, because I think that's always important for us, whether or not, you know, we want to cut back on our candle purchases, or maybe we just want to be aware of enjoying what we currently have. I think it's a really good thing for us to take stock of what we currently have and be grateful for that. And so I definitely want to make sure that I kind of, in a weird way, just take stock of that. So that is where I am at with all of that. Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming back and watching my videos. I know some of you might be finding me for the first time, but I really just appreciate this little corner of the internet. You guys are all wonderful, and I love the candle community. And yeah, this is just, it's a fun little hobby that I've kind of stumbled into. So really, really appreciate you being here. Again, I do have those discount codes if you do want to support my channel. No hard feelings if you're not comfortable with that. Everything is linked in the description box down below, as well as timestamps. And I just hope that your new year is off to a great start. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for spending time with me. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.